Hey, what is up, guys? Rules for Rebels here. It is Millionaire Monday, and we're talking about the Millionaire FastLane Book Club. This week is week 7, and this is probably my favorite part that we've covered thus far. I know I said that about last week, but this week has really gotten into a lot of like more concrete, tangible things that we talk about a lot on this channel: affiliate marketing, drop shipping, wholesaling, e-commerce, digital products, all that type of stuff. Another reason I really like this chapter, I think a lot of times, a lot from what I hear from you guys, as well as myself to some extent, um, a lot of these business books talk about all this big picture stuff and motivation and stuff, but they don't really get into the nitty gritty and apply it to your life or my life or how to start a business. And this chapter actually does talk about like affiliate marketing. If you're running the program, you're in the driver's seat. If you are an affiliate, you're in the passenger seat. MJ talks about his own experiences with AdSense. So we get into a lot of the stuff that you and I do and a lot of the stuff that we talk about on a regular basis. So I really like this chapter. This is probably going to run fairly long. I did kind of I don't know, I shot a video earlier today that wound up going like 40 minutes, and it was just on my talking points, let alone doing the whole chapter summary. I will be doing this week like I've done the past couple weeks. Basically, first part is going to be kind of my takeaways, what I thought were the most important points. I would love to hear your guys as well, so feel free to make a video response. I know YouTube doesn't officially have the video response, but feel free to do a video response with what you thought about this chapter and drop a comment below with it. Or if you just want to leave a comment telling me like what's your 3 biggest takeaways, or do any of these examples apply to your life, etc. Again, drop it in the comment section below. I just got a new webcam. I got a C920. Badass Logitech webcam. Actually, as I set it up, this is 1080p as opposed to 720 or whatever the other ones are. So I'm like, man, I need to go tanning. I kind of look like shit today. But yeah, really awesome webcam. If any of you guys are in the market for a webcam, it's a cool one. I actually got to give a shout out to Justin Charnell, aka Onyx Defiant. He's the one who kind of turned me onto this webcam. It's what he uses. And then also, I still got some stuff to throw up. I got a picture of the Chicago skyline. One of you guys on a previous video told me my backdrops make you want to kill yourself. Apparently, it's too plain. So I actually sent a bunch of pictures away to short run posters. I think it is. We did a video about that a couple weeks back with a business idea of you guys like drop shipping your posters to people. So I sent away a bunch of vacation pictures and cool pictures. So those should be coming back, and I'll have this whole wall behind me plastered with some cool stuff. Um, I guess without further ado, let's get into it. Again, part 1, I'm going to talk about my biggest takeaways, how I relate to some of these examples, etc. And in part 2, we're going to do a blow-by-blow of the entire chapter, and we'll do that one as a screencast. Let's get into it, guys. So MJ talks about starting a big business. And in a lot of this stuff, it's like it almost seems overwhelming that you need to start these big businesses. Whereas I know you guys and myself at one point we're like, oh, let me start small. Let's do a drop shipping thing. Let's do an affiliate marketing thing. Um, and he somewhat talks down about affiliate marketing and drop shipping, things that we discuss a lot on here. However, later he kind of brings it back. I don't think there's anything wrong with starting small. Before you can start an affiliate program, you should probably be an affiliate and see what it's all about, see what makes an affiliate program attractive. As with everything, start from the bottom and work your way up. Um, he alludes to needing to start something really big or complicated to be fast lane. However, in this part of the book, he talks a lot about little things that you and I can do: creating membership sites, disseminating information in an automated format, and charging for that information. A perfect example of that is when I saw the storage auction unit business dying. What did I do? I said, I gotta, all these new people are gonna come in and ruin my hustle. I'm gonna find a way to make money off of them, and I started charging people to find out, to basically buy lists of where the upcoming storage auctions are at. I started a website where I made money off advertising, showing people where they were. I put out courses in digital products, teaching people how to do storage auction stuff. So, I could really relate to this part of the book. These are all things which can be started really cheaply, really quickly, really easily, which I found motivating. Um, and it also kind of harkens on another message I've been kind of slowly trying to introduce, which is e-commerce isn't for everybody, guys. Like MJ talks about in this part of the book how um, by the time everybody's rushing to something, by the time everybody's in on some secret niche, some secret industry, it's pretty much too late and the industry's saturated. And I'm not going to say that's the case with e-commerce, because there's a million different niches you can branch off into. As MJ says, you can always do things differently, do things better, make things easier, solve a pain point. But I think a lot of people watch these YouTube videos and like, oh, everybody's making money with Amazon FBA, so I'll make money with Amazon FBA. There was a point when you could go to Alibaba, go to AliExpress, and literally buy anything. I'm not kidding, anything off the site. Oil diffusers for a quarter, turn around, sell them for 20 bucks on Amazon. That ship has kind of sailed. You know, I talked about the other day how made for AdSense, people were throwing up low quality AdSense sites, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. That eventually came to an end. He gives the example of house flipping, but by the time everybody is in on something, you've kind of missed a wave. Again, I'm not trying to discourage anybody from e-commerce, but if you have no startup capital, if you're too scared to ever put your money out there and order inventory, if you've been sitting around 3 months waiting for the perfect product to come along and it hasn't, maybe e-commerce isn't your thing. Maybe you're not willing to risk any money to make money, and maybe you should do something else. Also, a lot of people just, I think are rushing into e-commerce because it seems like the end thing to do, when really maybe your thing, maybe you would be a better Kindle publisher. Maybe you would be a better digital course teacher. Maybe you would be a better online teacher. So maybe there's some better things out there for you. Um, he talks about how people often don't see opportunity because they are looking for some huge new idea. Opportunity is a solution to an inconvenience. This is exactly how my business started, my main business, which makes me the most of my money that I have with my business partner. Basically, I was working at a retail store. I noticed a lot of customers coming in buying a product that we didn't carry a lot of and we didn't sell a lot of, but there was a small group of people who really wanted this product. My company couldn't keep it in stock. Also, people were asking for some other kind of similar, I guess, ancillary, for lack of a better word, products that my company didn't even carry. So light bulb went off in my head. I said, all these people are coming into my workplace, like really passionate about wanting these handful of products. My business doesn't really, or I should say, not my business, my employer didn't really seem to want to fill the need. So what did I do? Me and my business partner scrapped together, I think $269 is I think what it was. This is back in 2012. We actually bought our first inventory from my workplace I worked at, started selling it on eBay. We slowly branched out into some other products, other categories, etc. And it started off just making 50 bucks a week, but things were selling. It was selling right away. And the business grew and grew and grew. And we branched out and found some other suppliers and things like that. But I mean, lo and behold, 2 years later, the business was doing $2.5 million in sales, all off something very small that started with $269. And basically deciding my employer isn't filling this need. I think we might be able to fill it. And things wound up working out. And here we are, I don't know, 5 years later, and things are going strong. Let's see, successful entrepreneurs find existing businesses and make them better. Skip the big idea, go for the better execution. Perfect example that you could implement yourself, and that I often recommend to people. Chinese eBay sellers are selling stuff very cheap, right? You can't compete with them on price. The Chinese government subsidizes shipping. So, I mean, when somebody else is selling something for 99 cents or $1.99 with free shipping, how can you possibly compete when even first class shipping is going to cost you $2.62, right? So I have a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't sell that. I can't sell anything on eBay. The Chinese people are all cheaper than me. Well, guess what? Like MJ said, do it better, solve a pain point, etc. So when people order these cheap things from these Chinese sellers, sure, they're getting a great price on it, but they're having to wait 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks to receive it. Their listings are often very poorly put together. If they even list sizes at all for like clothing items or things where size matters, oftentimes they'll list it in centimeters. Their sizing charts are off, etc. So how could you do that business better? You could sell the same exact thing that these Chinese manufacturers are selling direct to consumer, but you could put together good quality listings. You could add more pictures. You could take measurements. You could say something in your listing like, technically this is a size large, however, in American sizes it fits more like an extra large. You solve these pain points about pricing, slow shipping times, communication, customer service, and people will gladly pay you more than the Chinese sellers are selling for. So like I said, don't say somebody is already doing it. Everything is already being done. Can you do it better? Can you do it differently? Can you solve a pain point? Like I said, my business already existed when I got into it. Basically what my niche was, I made the buying process easier for customers. And I feel like I offer better customer service than anybody else out there. I just had a customer call me the other day, and I wasn't the best priced, but they said, look, you're the only one who picked up the phone, so we're going to go with you. So by simply offering good customer service, I'm able to steal a lot of sales away from other people. Consumers are selfish, which means you, as the entrepreneur, have to put consumers first. Um, Chase needs, not money. If you're out there looking for money, you're not going to find it. If you find a way to add value and solve a problem for people, the money will come. Uh, how many businesses have you seen? I thought this was a really good point. How many businesses have you seen where the owner does what they want as opposed to what the customer wants? And I thought of a great example for this. So I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show Bar Rescue. Watch a couple episodes of Bar Rescue with John Tapper. Now, obviously these businesses are run very poorly, but one thing I notice about a lot of these businesses is the bar owner tries to create the bar that they want to hang out in as opposed to appealing to the local community. So John Tapper will come in and say, "Oh, the average income of people in this area is $150,000. It's 70% women here, blah, blah." And all this data is things that you can use to put together the perfect bar. So if an area has high income, you want to serve martinis and specialty drinks, not PBR. If you're living in an area that has low income, maybe you want to run specials as opposed to trying to sell $12 margaritas or whatever. But one thing that I've noticed from a lot of these bar rescue episodes is I've seen several where the bar owner is either in a band and a musician, they're a DJ, and they basically set up the bar as a stage for themselves to perform. And there was one particular one where the guy was a DJ, and the guy was obnoxious. He wasn't a good DJ. He played shitty music. But basically, he got to run the show. It was his bar, and of course, nobody's going to come in because nobody liked the music he was playing. Nobody liked him. So John Tapper I think that show was a great example of people, doing a business how they want to do it as opposed to appealing to the general public or customers. If your business idea, and some of these are just kind of bullet points that I wrote down as I was reading. If your business idea exists, how can you improve? Why will yours be better? He gave an example, kind of going back to the whole bar rescue example of somebody he saw in Arizona by his mom's house who had a hip hop boutique. Now, the community that this hip hop boutique in was not an urban area, so they really didn't have the clientele. It was a lot of older people. He says there was a nursing home next door. So why would you open that type of business? If you want to open a hip hop boutique or open it online where you can scale and reach all these people, by opening a brick and mortar business in a community of a bunch of old white people, it's probably not going to wind up doing very well. The business to start in that area may have been a senior daycare center, a senior care center, a medical supply center, but certainly not a hip hop boutique. And that's an example of somebody, being selfish with the needs of their business. They like hip hop clothing. They wanted to open a hip store, but they didn't take into account kind of the, demographics of the area. To attract money is to forget money. Attract money instead of chasing it. Money isn't attracted to selfish people. It's attracted to people who solve problems, to people who add value. Money is a reflection of the amount of value you give to others. And I think a perfect example of that, look at all these startups like Snapchat and stuff like that. They're not profitable. They make no money, but look at all the value people are willing to pay them. They don't really give anything tangible that people need, but people like taking pictures of, themselves looking like a dog or whatever. So if that's a way of adding value, add value that way. The marketplace determines if your business is viable. Let's see, how can you make yourself attractive to potential consumers? How can you add value? Educate them, make them look better, solve a problem, give them security, raise a positive emotion, make things easier, enhance their dreams, give them hope. These are all ways of adding value to people. He says, next time you're trolling the web, looking to make money, ask yourself, what do I have to offer the world? And I think this ties back to a video I posted actually earlier today. I made it a couple weeks ago. I just got around to posting it. And I told you guys, if you are looking to find out what career you should go into, what job you should do, what product you should sell, a great way to figure that out is by asking yourself, what do other people ask me about the most, or what do people ask me for help with the most? Now, if you're trying to nail down your skill set and you leave it reliant upon you, maybe I think I'm a good cook, but everybody else hates my cooking. Well, that's probably not a business I'm going to start, because I can love my food, but if nobody else comes to eat at my restaurant, I'm going to fail. So by asking yourself what other people ask you about, that tells you what other people value your skill sets at, what other people think you're competent at. So if everyone's always asking you to work on their car, or what's wrong with your car, why is your check engine light on, that probably means you have a knack for car stuff. Now, whether you want to become a car mechanic, whether you want to go work in a factory. It doesn't even have to be with cars, working on the factory lines, keeping the equipment up and running. If you're more entrepreneurial, maybe you open up your own garage. A way to turn it into more of a digital business or online business might be to open an e-commerce store selling car parts, but your knack is that you're going to make a YouTube video showing how to do every repair. I just recently ordered a refrigerator part for my parents, and the company who makes the part, actually for every single part they sell, they have an instructional video on how to install it. To me, that's a no-brainer. Who am I going to order it from? The person who's going to give me like some little black and white page that shows me how to fix it, or the person who's actually going to make a YouTube video? I'm going to give my business to them. So if you're good with cars, maybe you start an instructional YouTube channel on how to fix cars, and do some affiliate marketing and maybe show people where they can buy the part on Amazon or eBay and make your money that way. There's so many different ways you can go. If people are constantly, if your friends are constantly coming to you, hey, dude, I got a virus on my computer. Can you help me get it off? That means you have a knack for computers. Maybe you get into computer repair. Maybe you further your education, get into IT. Maybe you start a YouTube channel where you show people how to remove viruses from their computer. And for the affiliate marketing angle, you could show them, refer them to some antivirus program or something like that. But I thought that really tied into today's earlier video. What do you love? MJ DeMarco says bullshit. It violates the commandment of need. You may suck at what you need, but I forget where I was going with that one. First scratch that, guys. Doing what you love can make you hate the activity. This was another good example, and I've talked about this before. You may love surfing, but that doesn't mean you should open up a surf shop, because running a surf shop doesn't mean you're out surfing all day. Sure, you get to talk surfing. Sure, you get to recommend boards to people. But when you run a surf shop, your job is to do inventory, to schedule employees, customer service, doing the books, doing the accounting. It has very little to do with surfing. Some other examples, I think MJ DeMarco gave an example of a lady who was into painting, and she tried to paint as a career, tried to paint as money, and she said it's just not going to work. Why? Because she paints because she loves it. She paints when she's feeling motivated. Being told, here's $100, I need you to paint something, it just didn't do it for her. So a lot of people say, and MJ DeMarco seems to agree with, you're better off doing something that you're good at. In turn, you'll wind up loving it, or at the very least being passionate about it, because we enjoy things that we're good at. Mark Cuban has the same advice. Mark Cuban tells people, don't do what you love, do what you're good at, and you'll wind up enjoying it. And because you're good at it, you'll be successful with it, and then you can do whatever that thing is you love on the side. I think MJ DeMarco even gave an example of a lady who wanted to open an animal shelter. It's a very tough business to run. What did she do? She started another FastLane business, wound up being successful, and then she had the money to do what she loved, which is open that business. Follow your passion. Don't do what you love. Activities people love to hate. Activities people love have. Okay, here's another thing. Activities people love have too much competition. Um, you know, think about the businesses that everybody wants to get into, like iPhones. Everybody wants to get into like fun, sexy type businesses. Nobody wants to do like the unsexy type businesses. So some of the best selling products out there are like replacement parts, replacement volume knobs for your car, etc. Now that's not as sexy as selling a gaming mouse or an iPhone or whatever else, but that's where the money is, because people actually need those things. Another example MJ gave was that TV show with Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. I'm sure those people don't love cleaning up cow shit or cleaning out the inside of cement trucks, but there's big money in it. They're good at it, and nonetheless, they're passionate about it because they're good at it and because they're having success with it. One more example, I had a little bit off the topic of entrepreneurship, but I noticed a lot of kids I'm in the Chicagoland area. I noticed a lot of kids when I was younger, when I was college age, going to Columbia University or Columbia College, whatever it is. It's like an art school. People go there for video game design, music production, making movies, things like that. Now, not that there's anything wrong with doing that, but let's think about this. How many Kanye Wests are going to come out of that school? Probably very few. The majority of them are probably going to wind up getting jobs in the AV department at schools or churches or whatever else. The school's very expensive. Probably after 4 years, if you're paying for room and board and everything, you're probably looking at $80,000 to $150,000 in debt. To probably wind up getting a $30,000 a year job, unless you're one of the people that make it big. I think the smarter thing to do would be to go to school for business, wind up, most schools have access to other types of stuff, but take some music production classes, Do it in your free time. Get an entrepreneurship or get a internship somewhere. And then down the road, you have the business skills to fall back on if your music stuff doesn't take off right away. If your music stuff does take off, you also have the business knowledge to further that. When people are going after things that they love, there's way too many people into it. It leads to too much competition. Think about why photographers have people. A lot of times I hear photographers and graphic designers and web designers saying, "Oh, people don't want to pay for my work. I work really hard. People are only willing to pay, $50 for a website or whatever else." Well, it's because way too many people go into your skill set, and while you may be the best one out there, there's a million other people who can do something very similar for much less money. And so that's why things like photographers, graphic designers, a lot of these fun type jobs don't pay very much because there's just a saturation of people offering those skill sets. Um, let's see, where are we? Passion beats do what you love. I already talked about the Mike Rowe dirty jobs thing. The fast lane isn't a destination, but a journey. Enjoy the journey. Everyone wants the end, but the journey needs to be enjoyed, and that's what that's why you need to be passionate about what you're doing. I get a lot of emails and messages from people like, I want to start making $5,000 a week, and they don't even know what they want to do to get there. Figure out what you want to do and enjoy the process of building it and the small accomplishments along the way. If you don't do that, you'll never be successful. Passionate currency was when people told him, okay, yeah, I don't know why I put this. MJ kind of talks about how along the way, some of the currency he got, some of the rewards he got, with people telling him that he changed their life. And I can relate to this. I've gotten emails from some of you guys out there who are like, yeah, dude, I just had my first successful import come in. I sold out of 200 units on Amazon in one day, or my Shopify store is doing really well. Thank you for turning me on to some of these ideas. And that's really what this channel is about, is kind of, I'm not an expert on anything. I don't think that I can teach you every little aspect about everything, but really I just want to kind of introduce you guys to some new ideas, new concepts. Almost all day, every day, I'm on the lookout on Reddit and YouTube and other things for trends, for ideas, for opportunities. And really my goal is just to kind of share those things with you, and hopefully something strikes a chord and you can run with it and take it a step further. Um, Fast laners work like nobody else so that they can live like nobody else. Now, I like that quote. It's really just a spin off on the old quote about entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is, let's see if I get this right. Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. MJ kind of just did a spin off on that. Already talked about the animal hospital story. Already talked about emails, the commandment of entry. I really like the part about the commandment to entry. Crowded, jammed roads move slowly. Do your own thing. Follow your own path. The other week, I think last week, he talked about how barriers to entry aren't there to keep you out. They're there to keep the people who don't want it bad enough out. So if you want it bad enough, if you're willing to put in the work, you can get there. As barriers lessen, it becomes tougher to make money. A business that's hard to start or takes money to start has less competition. Drop shipping has no competition, hence why it's so competitive. Also, you get everybody who wants to be a drop shipper going to the same handful of suppliers, ordering the same products. Um, Another thing that I just wanted to add, the easier it is to find a product, the more competition there's going to be, which means prices are going to be lower, which means sales are going to be split up among a lot more people. A lot of you guys who want to get into drop shipping want to do it through Amazon, want to do it through eBay, or want to go out to one of these established drop shipping companies. I'll tell you guys about my first drop shipping venture. Actually, not my first. My first was kind of tied in with the beanbag toss cornhole games. I told you guys about that. I was selling grills that attached to the back of a car just because it was a nice add-on product to add to my site. One of my first real drop shipping experiences, which was really before I even knew that like drop shipping was a thing. Um, I was into ukuleles at the time. I had some social media accounts that had kind of a following in that niche, reggae music, Hawaiian music, ukuleles, that type of stuff. So what I actually wound up doing, I reached out to a music store who also happened to make ukuleles out of Hawaii. I came to them with a plan already formatted. I said, look, I have kind of a big following in this niche with this audience. I think I could sell a lot of ukuleles. Here's my idea. You give me ukuleles for 20% off the normal cost. When I need them, I'll order them as they sell. I'll list them on my site. I'll market them. At the end of the day, each business day, I will forward you over an Excel spreadsheet with all my orders. customer name, address, email, phone number, etc. What actually wound up working out nicely is because Hawaii is 6, 7, 8 hours behind us. If I got an order at 6 in the evening, it was still daytime there. It would go out same day. So that actually worked really well from the angle of like really quick order fulfillment. Nobody else could have been selling the same products that I was selling because this place that I was buying them from actually made them. So unless you were buying one from this company, you were buying one from me. There was no competition. Um, if you get into a business that only takes $200 to enter, like an MLM, as MJ says, it's not going to work. If you can create a business on eBay in 10 minutes, it's not going to be competitive. It's not going to be competitive because everybody else can do the very same thing. Early adopters are always going to do well. That's a good reason to be an earlier adopter. He talks about how bloggers were making thousands. Now that's saturated. Affiliate programs always get saturated. They start off with the best terms, the longest cookies, the highest payouts at the very beginning. And as more people come in, it gets worse. Getting back to the competition thing, my business, my main business that I talked about earlier, when I entered the market back in 2012, there were probably, I don't know, I'd say maybe a dozen competitors. Over the years, some have bought others out, some have gone out of business, some have just gone away. I would say now I have, how many competitors, serious competitors do I have? I could probably count on one hand the number of competitors that I have. It's a lot easier to be the best out of 5 people than it is to be the best out of 30,000 people. And I think MJ talks about the same thing. He was at one of his MLM meetings, and he's in like a meeting of like thousands of people, and the whole MLM network has even tens of thousands more. He said, "Am I really going to be the best out of these 30 or 40,000 people in this business?" But I forget what it was. I think it was a limo thing. I'd have a lot easier time being the best out of a dozen people in the limo industry than I would being the best out of 35,000 people in the MLM industry. And that's something that I found in my personal life and my personal experience as well. Let's see. Opportunities being done eventually years ago. Yeah. Drivers don't become affiliates. They start affiliate programs. Drivers don't drop ship. They are the drop shipper. Now, one caveat I would put to this, if you're completely just starting out, completely new to online marketing, making money online, etc., don't go out with your first venture trying to create an affiliate program because you don't know what the hell an affiliate program is. Start out as an affiliate, learn how the whole affiliate thing works. As you work with different affiliate companies, figure out what you like about some, what you don't like about some, what would want to make you work for a particular affiliate. And then when you launch your own affiliate program, you're going to know how to attract people because you know what people are looking for, whether it's higher payouts, better back-end data reporting, better creatives, etc. Business and a ton of competitors need to invest my business. I talked about that. Just another thing I thought was interesting. By the time the masses come to something, aka dumb money, and you're in on something, it's over. So Amazon, I'm not saying you can't make money on Amazon FBA, but like I said earlier, the days of buying a quarter 25-cent oil diffuser on Amazon and just throwing it up, I'm sorry, on Alibaba, throwing it up on Amazon for 20 bucks and making a killing, those days are over. You're going to have to be a lot more creative. You hear everybody talking about drop shipping nowadays. A couple years ago, you probably could have done fairly well with drop shipping. I'm not saying you can't make money. I know a lot of you guys are making money with drop shipping, but things become saturated over time. I may have talked about this in another video when storage auctions started. They were awesome, man. I would show up to I think I told you, I haven't posted that yet. It'll be posted, I think, tomorrow. But when I first got into storage auctions, my first unit ever, $450. I made probably between $4,500 and $6,000 off that unit. And when the storage auctions first started out, let me see if I can pause this video. I need a beverage. Yeah, shit, I can't. Okay, guys, I guess we'll keep going. So yeah, when storage auctions first started out, it would be like me and 2, 3, 4 other people at an auction. We didn't run up prices on each other. We literally took turns letting each person buy a unit. However, once the TV shows came on, it went from being me and 2 or 3 other people at an auction to me or 200 or 300 other people at an auction, and it just killed it. So by the time the dumb money comes in, not only is that opportunity over, but a lot of times they even kill it for the original people unless they have such a head start. A perfect example would be like Amazon. The people who got in early have 50,000 reviews on their product. The new guys coming to the game just aren't going to be able to compete with them. Like I said, when the storage auction thing came to an end, I said, all these new people are coming in, ruining my hustle, my business. I got to figure out a way to make money off them, which is when I rolled out freestorageauctionlist.com, which is when I rolled out my digital courses and ebooks and everything else. Let's see, a couple other bullet points on this chapter. An example of a driver versus hitchhiker. Amazon is a driver. They run the affiliate programs. The hitchhiker, us, is the one who gets screwed as they change the terms of service. I just made a video on Friday talking about how Amazon did a change of their commission rates, which some people, if you happen to be in one of the rare niches, maybe got an increase in your commission. For the most part, most people probably got their income slashed by about 3/4. MJ talks about this very thing that he experienced. He was doing the AdSense game on his Millionaire FastLane forum. I think I joined. By the way, I don't know if you guys have checked this out yet. MJ DeMarco actually has a FastLane forum. It's kind of like a Reddit or something like that, but where people talk about different business opportunities, ask questions, etc. I checked it out. I think I may have set up a profile. Um, I haven't yet really been active on there. But yeah, definitely check that out, guys. You guys would probably enjoy it. If you head over there, tell them I sent you over there. Tell them about the book club. But I am going to join it and be more active on it here moving forward. Anyhow, MJ had an affiliate program making 20K a month. Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Let's go back. He was running AdSense on his Millionaire Fastlane. He apparently did some post about a basketball player who lost all his wealth. It wound up AdSense claimed it violated their terms of service, shut his account down. He eventually got it resolved 8 days later, but he lost all that income. MJ also talks about how he had an affiliate program for his limo business. He was the affiliate. He was making 200 grand a month. He was making legendary money. One of his top affiliates was making good money, 20K a month, right? But the affiliate wasn't in the driver's seat. The affiliate wasn't the one making that legendary money. What if MJ DeMarco had changed the terms of the affiliate agreement, change the commissions, close down the program entirely? This guy's business is over. So that's why you want to be in the driver's seat. MJ talks about AdSense millionaires, affiliates, bloggers, publishers making good money. However, Google is in the driver's seat. Google makes the legendary money and has all the control. Talked about his Fastlane forum. He talks about even a franchise, you have to run these promotions. You have to accept these coupons. You have to buy your food or freezers or whatever else from our vendors. Let's see, entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs invent and create. They don't follow. So just the thing, I'm not knocking you guys at all. But I get a lot of emails. Hey, dude, what should I sell on eBay? What should I sell on Amazon? What niche should I get into? And I don't mind providing you guys with guidance. A lot of times I'll ask you, what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? What's your day job? And I'll try to steer you towards something good. And I do occasionally put out lists of hot selling products and things like that. And you can make money with these products. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need to solve problems. You need to take the initiative. You need to be a self-starter. You need to have a vision for finding these things. If you come to me and ask me for a product, is that really an entrepreneurial thing to do? Okay, so I give you a product, you make some money off it, and it fizzles out after 3 months. Are you going to be able to come up with the next product, or are you going to be emailing me again? Hey man, I made like 10 grand off that product you told me about, but the fad's over, the niche is over, it's not allowed to be sold. Whatever the reason is, are you going to be able to start your own idea, or are you going to have to come back to me for another one? So as an entrepreneur, you need to invent and create. Keep that in mind. Swing for home runs, not singles. It only takes one hit to set yourself up for life. Play on a field where you can hit home runs. A small local business can't hit a home run. And MJ talks about how the internet is great. It hits all the, I'm forgetting the terminology he uses, but it's scalable. It can make you independent of your time, etc. So it kind of hits all the check boxes that MJ says you need to make the, I don't know, quantum leap. I think quantum leap's a Dan Pena term, but to make the quantum leap to the fast lane or whatever it is. A business that needs your time as a job. Gives a story of the lady who opened a coffee shop. The coffee shop was successful, but it required her to be there at 4 in the morning to open, 8 o'clock at night to close. It was destroying her life. The business didn't make enough money to where she could hire a GM, so she just wound up closing up completely. Businesses that run like hobbies pay like hobbies. The internet is the best fast lane available. It scales, it systemizes, it's a medium you control. and its barriers are strong to prevent others from entering. Inventors take something old and boring and make it better. Take something undermarketed and market it correctly. You can repackage something with razzle dazzle, and all of a sudden it's hot. MJ gives the example of vodka. Vodka's, obviously it's always going to be popular, but there's nothing new about vodka. But you put it in a skull head, and all of a sudden now it's this new hot thing. I've also seen liquor stores with like vodka in like an AK-47 glass. Something new, something different, repackaging. And he also talks about the Snuggie. The Snuggie is really nothing more than a cross between a blanket and a robe, but you put together a clever song about Snuggie, Snuggie, sitting on my couch, and put some clever guys on it, and all of a sudden you have something selling, I don't know, $6 billion or whatever the hell that thing sold. I'm sorry, 40 million. Hamburgers have been around for decades. McDonald's did it different. Department stores have been around for decades. Sam Walmart did it different. Coffee has been around forever. Starbucks did it in a unique way, made it fashionable, and added an ambiance, and that was a blockbuster. Which leads us to Blockbuster Video. They've been around forever. Nothing new about renting movies. Netflix made it more convenient. Redbox made it more convenient and cheaper, and that's why those were hits. So those were some of my biggest takeaways, things that I related to, etc., about part 7. I would love to hear your guys. Again, drop them in the comments section below. If you guys want to make a video response, like I said, make a video response, come back, drop a comment, people come watch your video. If any of you guys are YouTubers or whatever else, maybe a way to drive some people over to your channel, I'll make sure to allow those links to come through, even if they're hit by the spam filter. And now we're moving on to part 2. This video is probably going to wind up running like over an hour. Those of you guys who are reading the book, you don't need to hang around for chapter 2. You read the book. Those of you guys who aren't reading the book but find this chapter, this section, whatever interesting, feel free to follow along. We're going to do kind of a blow-by-blow of the entire part 7, all the chapters. This was kind of a long one, but this chapter did cover a lot of stuff, so anxious to get into that. Those of you guys who are tuning out, thanks for watching. I got some great content coming on later in the week, so stay tuned for that. And those of you guys who want to stick around, in just a second, we'll be covering the blow-by-blow of everything from part 7. So I'll be right back with you guys.
Hey, what is up, guys? Back with you. Millionaire FastLane Book Club, Week 7, Part 7, Chapters 29 through 37. So we just did the beginning of the video where I kind of talked about what I thought were some of the most important points, some things I could relate to, etc. Now we're going to be going blow by blow through the entire chapter here. So I put together a chapter summary for you guys. Part 7, The Roads to Wealth. Chapter 29. The road routes to wealth. So it starts off with a quote, as always: "He who chooses the beginning of the road chooses the place it leads to. It is the means that determines the end." Henry Emerson Fosdick. I hope I'm saying that wrong. Chapter 29, Quotes and Highlights. In the fast lane, you engineer a business that touches millions of lives in scale or many lives of magnitude. If your road doesn't lead through the affections neighborhood or have an off-ramp onto it, sorry, you're on the wrong road. The road meeting all 5 commandments make you filthy rich fast. As violations accrue, the road degrades in its wealth potential, and with it, your ability to get near affections also degrades. While it's possible to violate one or more of the commandments and still create wealth quickly, you should aim for the road that satisfies all 5 commandments. Chapter summary, Fastlane distinctions. Not all businesses are the right road. Few roads move at all, through or near the law of affection. The best roads and the purest fast lanes satisfy the 5 fast lane commandments: need, entry, control, scale, and time. So need, does a community, does a demographic, does anybody actually need your business? Entry, is there a barrier to entry to keep other people out? Control, are you in control? We gave the example of AdSense and how when you're an affiliate for somebody else, you're at the whim of their changing policies, ending the program, etc. So are you in the driver's seat? Scale, is it able to be scaled bigger? He talks about how a small local restaurant, for example, doesn't have scale. You can only serve the local community. However, what if you decide to sell your pies online? Or what if you decide to franchise and get more locations out there? Can you scale it? And then lastly, can you separate yourself, your own time, from making money? Chapter 30, the commandment of need. And here we're going to be covering the different commandments. So What do we live for, if not to make life less difficult for each other? George Eliot. Chapter 30, Quotes and Highlights. 90% of all new businesses fail within 5 years, and I know why they fail. They fail because they fail the commandment of need. Businesses that violate the commandment of need either belong to the 90% failure category or masquerade as a job. Businesses that solve needs win. Businesses that provide value win. Businesses that solve problems win profits. Selfish, narcissistic motives do not make good long-term business models. And we talked about earlier the example of that show Bar Rescue, where people start a bar to satisfy their own need of the type of bar they want to hang out with or to be a cool guy or whatever, but it doesn't meet the needs of the people who you would want coming there and spending money, hence making you money. People care about what your business can do for them. How will it help them? What's in it for them? Will it solve their problem? Will it make their life easier? Will it provide them with shelter, save them money, educate them, make them feel something? Tell me, why on God's green earth should I give your business my hard-earned money? What value are you adding to my life? To succeed as a producer, surrender your own selfishness and address the selfishness of others. Stop thinking about businesses in terms of your selfish desires, whether it's money, dreams, or do what you love. Instead, chase needs, problems, pain points, service deficiencies, and emotions. And I talked about how my business solved a need that wasn't being met by my employer. It solved a pain point, which is making the purchasing process easier. It solved deficiencies, which, kind of ties in with that. So that's how my business solved a need. You and your business attract money when you stop being selfish and turn your business's focus from the needs of yourself to the needs of other people. Give first, take second. Needs come first, not money. Needs precede money. Engage the marketplace with your own selfish need, and my bet is on your failure. Money isn't attracted to selfish people. It is attracted to businesses that solve problems. It's attracted to people who fill needs and add value. Solve needs massively, and money attracts massively. The fast lane allowed money to be removed from the equation. Now I don't need to get paid to do what I love. In other words, money led to do what you love, it didn't follow. How's that for irony? When supply exceeds demand, need, prices go down. Not enough need, too much supply. So I gave the example of like photographers. A lot of people enjoy photography as a hobby. A lot of people love to do photography. Hence, it attracts a lot of people to that industry. Hence, when people need to hire a photographer, there's an endless supply of photographers, both full-time professional ones, as well as ones that moonlight as photographers on the weekend, and that in turn drives the price that they can charge down. You need a passion for something greater. It is different for everybody, but when you find it, you will do anything for it. And just an example, that is why it's 7:04. I would much rather be smoking. I can't say I would much rather, but I would certainly like to be smoking a bowl watching a movie right now. As soon as I wrap up this video, that's what I'm going to be doing. But because I have a passion for doing this, because I have a passion for what I'm doing, after working all day at my office on my regular businesses, I'm at home working on this, making this video. No passion leads to mediocrity in the land of everybody. No passion leads to unhappiness. No passion equals no wealth. Passion comes from either excitement or discontent. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. The commandment of need states that businesses that solve needs win. Needs can be pain points, service gaps, unsolved problems, or emotional disconnects. 90% of all new businesses fail because they are based on selfish internal needs, not external market needs. Nobody cares about your selfish desire for dreams or money. People only want to know what your business can do for them. Money chasers haven't broken free from selfishness, and their businesses often follow their own selfish needs. People vote for your business with their money. Chase money and it will elude you. However, if you ignore it and focus on what attracts money, you will draw it to yourself. Help 1 million people and you will be a millionaire. For money to follow. Do what you love. Your love must solve a need and must be exceptional at it. Do what you love sets the stage for crowded marketplaces with depressed margins. When you have the financial resources, you can do what you love and not get paid for it, nor will you have to be good at it. Slow laners feed do what you love with do what you hate. 5 days of hate for 2 days of love. Doing what you love for money can endanger your love. Passion for an end goal, a why, drives FastLane success. Have a passion, why, can transform work into joy. Doing what you love usually leads to the violation of the commandment of need, because what you love to do may not be what other people need. The right road for you is the one that will converge with your dreams. Chapter 31, the commandment of entry. I really like this one. My business is pretty much successful. I can't, I work hard, I'm good at what I do, but I would say probably 90% plus of the reason that my business is successful is because of the commandment of entry. There's a very, very high barrier of entry for somebody to enter my business. Not only do you need a lot of knowledge, it takes a lot of money to get into my industry, and that's going to keep a lot of people out. When I first entered my industry, there were probably about a dozen competitors. Now there's probably less than a half dozen, and there's really not going to be any new ones. So this starts off with a quote like a lot of others: "Our plans miscarry because they have no aim. When a man does not know what harbor he is making for, no wind is the right wind." Seneca. Chapter 31, quotes and highlights. In a gold rush, don't dig for gold, sell shovels. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. The commandment of entry states that as barriers to entry fall, competition rises and the roads weakens. Easy access roads carry more traffic generates higher competition, and higher competition creates lower margins for the participants. Businesses with weak entry often lack control and operate in saturated marketplaces. Exceptionalism is required to overcome weak barriers to entry, so if you enter something that doesn't have a high barrier to entry, you better be the best person out there at doing that thing, or you're just going to wind up being mediocre or even failing. Access to a business road should be a process with a toll, not an event. Everyone consists of the general populace and is served by the mainstream media. If everyone were wealthy, everybody is doing it would work. And if everyone is wealthy, then no one is wealthy. Everyone is doing it is a signal to overbought conditions and the entrance of dumb money. So once everybody got into storage auctions, once dumb money entered it, it basically signaled the end of it for me. I couldn't make money doing it anymore, but I could make money off all the dumb people entering. MJ DeMarco talks about a few examples in this as well, as far as he was flipping houses. Once his plumber started telling him about how he's got a 15% ROI on all these units, once everybody he started talking to was doing, house flipping and things like that, he took that as a signal to get out. Why? Because the dumb money had entered. Chapter 32, the commandment of control. There is no dependence that can be sure, but a dependence on oneself. John Gay. Chapter 32, quotes and highlights. A business hitchhiker seeks refuge from risk and cowers within the confines of a matriarchal organization. This subservient relationship renders a loss of control and leaves you vulnerable to the actions of the driver. When you control your business, you control everything in your business. Your organization, your products, your pricing, your revenue model, and your operational choices. Now, I think this is really important. A lot of people don't want to get into e-commerce. Why? Because they're scared to lay out any money. Because they're scared of having to handle the shipping. They're scared of having to handle all the different elements of the business. So they decide, okay, I'm going to be a drop shipper. I'm going to let somebody else take on all the risk of having the products. I'm going to let somebody else do the order fulfillment. But guess what? When somebody else is in control, you're not in control. If they raise prices, there's no more margin for you. If they run out of stock of a product, you can't sell it anymore. If they close up shop, you close up shop. If someone can flip a switch and destroy your business, you're playing roulette with your financial plan. So if you're an affiliate, if you're a drop shipper, etc., you are not in control. And like they said, the flip of the switch can, sink your business. Hitchhiking isn't entrepreneurial because at the heart of entrepreneurship is creation and innovation. Hitchhikers aren't pioneers. They don't create or innovate. They sell, operate, and manage. Nothing wrong with doing that, but if you want to be a fast laner, it's not the path to take. Fast lane distinctions. Hitchhikers relinquish control of their business to a fast laner. There is a difference between good money and big money. Hitchhikers can make good money while fast laners make big money, sometimes legendary money. In a driver-hitchhiker relationship, the driver always retains control, and the hitchhiker is at the mercy of the driver. Hitchhikers are a party to someone else's fast lane plan. Make the world your habitat of play in an organization you control. Network marketing has little to do with entrepreneurship, but more to do with sales, networking, training, and motivation. Network marketing fails both the commandments of control and entry, and sometimes need. Network marketers are soldiers in a fastlaner's army. Network marketing is a powerful distribution system. As a fastlaner, seek to own one, not join one. And MJ DeMarco talks about how he'd gotten involved in some, he realized they weren't right for him, but he does say if he were to launch a new business or something like that, network marketers would be some of the best people out there to promote it. And actually, in my business, there's actually a lot of network marketers that actually some of my best customers and some of my best customers who refer the most people are network marketers because they do have huge circles of people, but I'm the fastlaner, the one making the money, and they're the one referring people to me for commissions or free products or whatever else. Chapter 33, the commandment of scale. In business, to be a success, you only have to be right once. Mark Cuban. Chapter 33, quotes and highlights. The bigger your pool of play, the bigger your potential for wealth. A business that lacks scale acts like a car with a speed governor that prevents acceleration. Barricade to affection is magnitude. Because our coffee shop owner is restricted in scale, his other option is scale by magnitude. Unfortunately, the magnitude road is also closed. Unit profit cannot be manipulated. Every sale won't generate a profit of greater than a few bucks, and raising prices reduces units sold. A $100,000 profit on each coffee sold is impossible. And that's when he talked about the woman. I think her name might have been Leslie. She started a coffee shop that had a big focus on art and music and whatever else. The business was actually successful. People enjoyed it, but it was too much work for her, and it wasn't profitable enough to hire a GM, so she wound up closing up shop. Doctors who own practices and hire other doctors get full access to affection and get rich. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. Your total pool of customers determines your habitat. The larger the habitat, the greater the potential for wealth. A business can be a singles or a home run based business. Its strength is determined by scale, which is derived by habitat. FastLane wealth creation is disarmed when you violate the commandment of scale. Scale is achieved in reach, units sold, and/or magnitude, unit profit. The law of affection is a primary conduit to wealth, which can be roadblocked by scale, magnitude, or source. Affection consequences trickle up to owners and producers. Breaking scale or magnitude indirectly as an uncontrolled entity is not the guarantee of wealth. To gain access to affection, you have to break the barrier of scale or magnitude in an entity you control. Scale, magnitude, or source deficiencies create governors on the speed of wealth creation. Chapter 34, the commandment of time. I am long on ideas but short on time. I expect to live only about 100 years. Thomas Edison. Chapter 34, quotes and highlights. The commandment of time asks, can this business be automated and systemized to operate while I'm not present? Would you rather work 10 hours a week and earn $60,000 or work 70 hours a week for $140,000? I would take the former over the latter every time. As a fastlaner, your road should be traveled with intention to make it automated. You want passivity in a living money tree. When you fail the commandment of time, the failure is caused by one of two obstacles. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. A business attached to your time is a job. A business that earns income exclusively of your time satisfies the commandment of time. To satisfy the commandment of time, start with a business that uses money's system, seedling, or introduce one. Chapter 35, Rapid Wealth, the interstates. You can't live a perfect day without doing something for somebody who will never be able to repay you. John Wooden. Chapter 35, quotes and highlights. Thou shalt not invest in a needless business. Thou shalt not trade time for money. Thou shalt not operate on a limited scale. Thou shalt not relinquish control. Thou shalt not let a business startup or an event be an event over process. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. The best FastLane satisfy all 5 commandments: entry, control, entry, need, time, and scale. Assuming a need-based premise, the internet is the fastest interstate because it overwhelmingly satisfies all commandments. Innovations can be any variety of open roads: authoring, inventing or services. Inventing success needs coupling with distribution. If you invent something but nobody knows about it, it doesn't really do you any good. A singles-based business is scaled to a home run business by intentional iteration. With iteration, scale is conquered. Chapter 36, Find Your Open Road. At first, people will refuse to believe that a new strange thing can be done. Then they begin to hope it can be done. Then they see it can be done. Then it is done. And all the world wonders why it was not done centuries ago. Francis Hodgson Burnett. And I think a perfect example of this is the 4-minute marathon. People used to think it was impossible to run a 4-minute marathon. Somebody finally did it, and within one person doing it, I forget the number, but like hundreds of other people did it within the next 6 months or the next year. I notice on my channel, a lot of people say, oh, you can't make money doing this. Oh, there's too much competition. Oh, as soon as somebody sees those barriers get broken down, those mental barriers, all of a sudden people realize they can do it. And I've talked about this when I first got started making money online and things like that. I was like you guys. I started thinking, oh, everything seems like bullshit. These guys aren't really getting these $100,000 AdSense checks. And for whatever reason, I stuck with it. And when I saw money start coming in, it kind of broke this mental barrier that like, oh, this stuff really works. There's a lot of money out there for the taking, etc. Chapter 36, Quotes and Highlights. Morale. Solve other people's problems and you will solve your own money problems. FastLane success resides in execution, not the idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen, guys. I have dozens of ideas a day. I don't have enough time to implement them, but an idea is worth nothing. I get a lot of people like, oh, I have a great idea. Will you partner with me and we'll split profits? An idea is nothing. I have a million ideas. You have a million ideas. Bob has a million ideas. The next guy has a million ideas. It really all comes down to the execution. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. Opportunities are rarely about inventing breakthroughs, but about performance gaps, small inconveniences, and pain points. I talked earlier about how this kind of helped me start my business. Competition should not impede your road. Competition is everywhere, and your objective should be to do better. So everybody crying about how there's too many people selling this product on Amazon, about how the prices are too low, find a way to do it better, find a way to solve a pain point, and you will be successful. FastLane success resides in execution, not in the idea. The world's most successful entrepreneurs didn't have blockbuster ideas. They just took existing concepts and made them better or exposed them to more people. Opportunity is exposed in your language and your thought process as well as other people's language. Failure cracks open new roads. Quitting only happens when you give up on your dream. Chapter 37. Give your road a destination. The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy in life lies in having no goal to reach. Benjamin Mays. Chapter 37, Quotes and Highlights. Money systems in which you amass a lump sum large enough to earn monthly interest that will support your lifestyle needs. The second is a business system that spawns passive cash flow that supports your lifestyle and simultaneously funds your money system. You can't build a financial empire if you're ignorant of basic finance and economics. These principles are the building blocks to a financial empire, and without them, the sidewalk becomes a danger. Chapter summary, FastLane distinctions. The FastLane is the means to your end because dreams cost money. Conquer big goals by breaking them down to their smallest component. Daily saving reinforces your relationship with money. It is your passive system that buys freedom and another soldier added to your army. A money system isn't used to grow wealth, but to grow income. Growing wealth should be left to your FastLane road. You will struggle to build a financial empire if you are financially illiterate. Live below your means is relevant at any income. And MJ talks about this in his own life. I know I talk a lot about Alex Becker on this video, on this channel. Becker makes at least from what he claims, makes a couple $100,000 a month. He only spends about $10,000 a month. And basically, if you think about it, every month that he works and lives below his means, he's essentially amassing like 10 months of not having to work. So great advice there. A financial advisor doesn't solve financial illiteracy, and literacy is insurance. Basically, the thought there is you can make all the money in the world, but if you're financially an idiot, if you're not frugal with your money, it doesn't matter how much you're going to make because you're always going to up your spending. And then lastly, financial illiteracy dilutes your control, especially when evaluating the advice of a financial advisor. So that wraps up week 7, part 7 of the Millionaire FastLane book club, guys. For any of you guys who stuck around till the end, thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I would love to hear your guys' feedback from this chapter, or I should say from this section. What were your most important takeaways? Can you relate your own life to any lessons shared in these chapters? Love to hear anything else that you guys have to say. If you guys want to make your own summary of Part 7 and do kind of a video response, feel free to do so. Make your video, post it, and come back and drop a link. I will make sure to approve it. And I'm sure I would love to hear, and I'm sure others would love to hear your take on these chapters as well. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. I got some great stuff dropping later this week, so stay tuned for that. And I will catch you guys on the next video.